Good evening and welcome to the Town of Smyrna November Council Workshop to set our agenda for our December meeting. Before we move into our items for discussion, I'll ask Mark Adkins to do our prayer. And Heather, will you lead us in pledge? You'll all stand with me, please.
Let's pray. Father, we just come to you this evening, Lord, with grateful hearts as we enter into the Thanksgiving holiday season, Lord. There's just so much we have as gratitude to be thankful for that we just, every day we take it for granted, Lord. We thank you for everything. Lord, as we go into the holiday season, we pray for all the families, all of our citizens, Father, that they have a wonderful gathering with their loved ones and their family. Keep them safe. Keep our police and fire department, all of our individuals that look after our town for safety reasons, Father. We prayed upon them to have a safe holiday. Lord, go with us now as we do the business of the town. Lead, guide, and direct us in all we do. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks, Heather. Okay, we will move into our items for discussion tonight. Our first one is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a renewal contract with Cigna Healthcare for the employee medical, dental, and vision plans for the calendar year 2024. Hey, Jeff.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. What you've got before you is our annual renewal with Cigna for the healthcare, medical, and dental and vision plans for the year 2024. The administrative fees are staying the same as they have been previously. The individual stop loss insurance is going up 7% this year. As you recall, last year that amount was 39% increase towards stop loss, but we were able to reduce it by increasing our pooling point on stop loss from 50K to 100K. That transition saved us about $200,000 so far this year, so that was a good move. But there is a small increase with the stop loss insurance for this year. I do want to also add that we are recommending an increase in the dental coverage from $1,250 to $1,500 per participant per year. Cigna said with that small increase, they're not making any changes to our administrative fees or anything for that. Be glad to answer any questions that you may have.
Questions for Jeff? Okay, we'll put that on the agenda and move on to item 2, which is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an agreement with Tennessee Rehabilitation Center relative to the recreation field area used by the Parks and Rec Department. Mike?
Yes, ma'am. Mayor, Council, this is an annual agreement that we signed with Tennessee Rehab Center for a 6-acre field over off 9th Avenue. The only difference this year is they're pretty much giving us the whole year now. They don't use as much as they used to, but they're also asking us not to use their big parking lot. So we're going to try a year and see how that goes. We did that a couple of years ago just for security. So our folks will have to park on 9th Avenue and walk over. But if it doesn't work out, we may be changing that next year. But we really don't want to lose any green space at this point with the way the leagues are growing. Baseball League is the primary user over there, and as you guys know, we mow and maintain that property, and Greenway's over that way too, so we're already in the area.
I know we had a lot of mamas with younger ones that had issues with that, trying to get over to practice and
Yes,
all
ma'am.
that with other kids. So
Yeah, and we
no
worked that.
budging. You don't think they'll budge on it?
It doesn't sound like it. I think we're going to have further discussions, but I think they were having people park back there, then trying to walk in the school or in the center.
Gotcha.
And it became a security issue there. So we talked about maybe a badge system with our league. We just figured it'd be to get in front of you guys to do that
Yep.
and take on those discussions. I feel like we need that parking lot. It's just too hard as a parent because that's a long ways off.
Yeah.
Older kids would be fine, but as a parent, that's a long ways, and then you got to cross. But it is a good field. We've done a lot of work there, so we hate to lose it.
Okay. Questions for Mike on this? Put that on
Thank
the
you.
agenda. Move on to item 3, which is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an agreement with United Communication to provide the is this gigabyte internet service with DDoS protection to the town hall location.
Hi, Mayor, Council. I hope everyone's well. This is to bring in a new circuit for internet bandwidth and performance. We're fairly constrained in this building, and so this will just give us the needed capacity. By working with United, not only are we getting the service, but they're also giving us a credit back on our monthly fiber maintenance, so this turns out to be a very financially feasible move, and this is already budgeted within our budget, so we're ready to go on this as soon as we can get it done.
Questions? Okay, we'll put that on the agenda. Move on to item 4, which is approval of the terms of an authorization for the mayor to execute change order number 1 for the 1R sewer lift station.
Hello. So we had originally spec'd a Cummings generator in the bids, but we're having delivery issues, so they keep pushing it out. So what we did is got a quote from Kohler, and we got the contractor to agree to pay to almost half of the additional cost.
Questions for Mike on this? Okay, we'll move on to item 5, which is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute the final change orders for Sam Ridley and Weekly Lane water improvements.
Yes, ma'am. As you said, these are the final change orders that resulted in a net deduct of a little over $355,000 for the project.
Questions on that, council? Okay, I always like to hear that. Item 6 is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute change order number 1 for North Lowry Waterline Phase 2A.
Yes, ma'am. So the wrong valve was spec'd in the plans where we're tying on at Sam Ridley. It was a butterfly valve. Should have been a tapping sleeve and gate valve. So the contractor is only charging us the cost of the valve, not for installation, and we'll be able to repurpose that butterfly valve somewhere else.
Questions for Mike on this? Okay, we'll move on to item 7, which is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an extension agreement with USIC Location Services for locating water, sewer, and gas underground utilities.
Yes, ma'am. This is the second extension for USIC, and as per the terms of the contract, it would be a 3% increase in cost over last year.
I know this is something kind of new that we had done, and are we happy with how things are going?
They're doing pretty well. Google Fiber has, they have a lot. So for the amount of cable that's been put in versus the number of hits, they've done pretty well. It's hard to complain too much because Google has just put in so much cable, but they're doing a pretty decent job.
And taking a load off of employees here?
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay. Then we will move on to item 8, which is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an agreement with Kimberly Horn for design of a sidewalk along Old Nashville Highway in St. Luke's to St. Michael's. Tom?
Thank you, Mayor Council. Yes, we're going to be installing some sidewalk along Old Nashville Highway between St. Luke's and St. Michael's. As you may know, that's a really steep section of a right-of-way, and so we looked at getting some engineering done on that because there are some retaining walls that are going to have to be constructed. That'll be that little piece that was never installed just because of steep slope conditions. And so this cost includes initial survey, right-of-way, and any easements we have to acquire as well as design for construction purposes.
Questions for Tom on this?
Tom, let's go between the brick and wrought iron and the road there.
What we'll probably have to do is remove that section of fence, and even though the fence is right on or just barely on the property itself, so it will go in between the fence and the back of curb, but most likely that fence will have to be removed. I've already talked to several of the residents in that area, and they're fine with removing it. We'll be replacing with a different type of fence on top of a retaining wall.
Other questions for Tom? I had called Charles the other day to thank him for Sam Davis, the hump at Sam Davis, and he said to make sure
Yeah.
to give you credit
Right.
for that.
Yeah.
And it is so much better.
Thank you.
Going on to Sam Davis. So
Great.
appreciate you guys doing that.
Tom, how about all those trees along between St. Michael's and St. Luke's? There's a lot of
those-
Bradford pears, as I recall.
Right. And that's something we'll have to work with the property owners. A lot of those will have to be removed. We may be replacing them with some other types of trees, but I have talked to some other residences about that tree removal as well.
Thank you.
Other questions for Tom? Okay, item 9 is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute Amendment Number 1 with TDOT relative to State Route 266, which is Sam Ridley Parkway, intersection at Old Nashville Highway, log mile 1.5 in Smyrna. Hey,
Hey,
Charles.
Mayor and Council, the 5-year current contract we have with TDOT is coming to an end, so this amendment extends it to one more year to November 30th of 2024. And it also revises the funding Exhibit A, and as you can see in there, the local construction funding has been approved by GNRC, and also put in for a carbon reduction program grant on August of '23 for an 80/20 funding, because all the existing CMAQ money is pretty much tied up for the next 2 to 3 years. So hopefully we can get that grant, but at least we've got it in the project, and that way when we go out to bid, it will not come under and kick the project out.
Question for Charles?
Since we're only extending this a year, what's the timeline? We're gonna be done or substantially done in 12 months?
We're getting close. Like I said, we've gotten the last environmental boundaries into them. We're fixing to get our TDEC NOI into them, so we're getting close to being able to go to the construction phase. So, like I said, every time we get close, it seems like we get another item that comes up, but we're in good shape of getting the funding. Getting that in place will keep us, because they wouldn't even let us go to bid if looked like the estimate was over the current funding. So hopefully we've gotten everything in order to be ready to get into the construction phase and get it out to bid.
Other questions? Okay, we'll move on to item 10, which is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute the scope and fee proposal with Energy Land and Infrastructure for the Lee Road Improvement Project.
This project is for widening of 1.1 miles of Lee Road to 3 lanes. That's the current part that's in the city limits.
Any questions on this one? Okay. Item 11 is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a professional services agreement with Caius Rogers, Barter and Sanderson P. LLC for the title and closing services in connection with the Trunk Line A sewer rehab project. Jason?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Great to see everyone. So as you can tell, numbers 11, 12, and 13 on your agenda are really for these title services agreements for our eminent domain projects. So this one in particular, Trunk Line A, obviously that program is in full swing and well on our way towards knocking all that out, but we need to just make sure we've got our fee agreement in writing. So this is the same fee as has been charged prior to my tenure here with the town, $1,000 per tract. This particular project's estimated at 38 tracts. Between these 3 projects, we'll have around 80 plus or minus tracts total, so we've got a lot of work to do. And the title services are, of course, essential to closing out our easements with good title. And making sure that we have what we need for both our temporary and permanent construction as well as our permanent easements. So,
Questions for Jason on this one?
Trunk line A goes where to where?
great question. So it's so we're going to where's Mark Parker when you need him? You're going to go. Let's see, Mike. You want to throw in here? You're going to be. It's the creek. It follows the creek. Yeah.
Comes across from us over the interstate.
Yeah.
You got him a little flustered.
Yeah. Well, hey, I don't have the answer that question.
I just want to know what I'm buying.
This is the second part of the I&I project. Trunk line A runs down Rock Springs and to the plant. So remember, we did basins A8 and A9. This finishes the basin. This is the one we have the grant funding from ARP for.
Does it follow the creek?
It does.
Yeah, you just say it's with the creek. That's what Mark Parker told me when I first came on. He said, "Hey, it's with the creek, man." So,
HG, any other questions?
I wouldn't dare.
oh, I was hoping for another one. I might improve a little bit. So,
How deep's that gonna be? No. Please, move on.
Okay, item 12 is the professional services for the Fall Creek Utility Easement Project. Questions on that one?
and so it's literally the exact same agreement, just designated a different project each time, same fee as well, $1,000 per tract.
And item 13 is for the Rocky Fork Amable Road Improvement Project.
That's right, Mayor.
Questions on that one? Okay. Item 14 is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a contract with R&D Enterprises Incorporated for the acquisition services in relation to the right-of-way easements for the Rocky Fork Amable Road project.
Right, so we've had a great negotiator in the past. We kind of refer to these acquisition services as our negotiator. This is the person who goes out, does really the lion's share of all the communications with property owners, gets a lot of paperwork ready for us, really does a great job streamlining the process as between us and our, whoever the internal client is, whether it's utilities or roads, such as through Charles, and then sort of integrating that through the closing process. So really helps take a ton of work off of us and make things smooth and catches things that need to be caught along the way, because there are certain standards that have to be complied with, both federal and state, depending on the money that's attached to it. So this particular contractor is one that we haven't used for a few years, although the town has used this company in the past, Deborah Riemann, I think back in 2016. And so we had kind of used the same person for quite a long time because she'd had the capacity and did a great job, but we had to switch now because we've got so much work. So the person we'd been using, we needed to kind of switch gears and put some work on somebody else. And so that's the reason you're seeing a different vendor here than what you might ordinarily see. So anyway, the price, they had been a little high. We got them down to $1,300, which is only $100 more per track than what our other vendor was charging us. And so I was just bringing this to council to have this approved. And again, this is on the Rocky Fork Amable Road acquisition project for improving those roads out there.
And this is what we have in front of us on our desk.
I got you.
Yes, and sorry, I had to bring
You're
that
good.
in because she emailed me an update with the lower price today.
Good.
So that's what you're seeing.
Questions for Jason on this? Okay, then we will move on to item 15, which is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an agreement with Ted Boozer and Company to perform appraisal services for the Rocky Fork Amable Road project.
On this item, we're going to ask that this be stricken, and we'll take this up in January. Essentially, we've got our engineer who is still doing some work on the details of the acquisition table and so forth to get all the details squared away before our appraisers can really come in and give an accurate quote. So I think he was out from work for about a month, and that happens to folks sometimes. So anyway, we're going to have to move this one and revisit in January, which shouldn't delay anything on our project.
Okay, then we'll move on to item 16, which is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an agreement between the town of Smyrna, Freehill Ventures LLC, and Rutherford County regarding the installation of sanitary sewer in the county right-of-way. Jeff, you taking this one?
Yes, Mayor and Council, as you just read, Mayor, this agreement between the county and Freehill Ventures as well as the town. Basically, you've got 2 points in the town with subdivisions where we've got to have sewer installed. The developer is going to be installing the sewer, but it's going to run adjacent in the right-of-way of the county road. So this agreement allows that to occur. And they'll do the installations. We'll just maintain it after it's in.
Questions for Jeffrey L.? Okay, item 17 is consideration of an ordinance amending Title IV of the town's municipal code and establishing an updated occupational safety and health program plan.
Mayor, Council, good evening. So every 7 years, the town of Smyrna has to go through the process of revisiting and updating its ordinance. Presently, I think there's a couple of things that need updates, one of them being the Tennessee OSHA reporting rules. So that's what we're looking at, updating.
Any questions from council? Okay, then we will put that on the agenda. Item 18 is consideration of an ordinance amending the municipal code Title II, 704, relative to the Memorial Maintenance and Special Projects Subcommittee to codify powers, duties, and related matters pertaining to the Captain Jeff Coos USMC Scholarship Program.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. This is an initiative I'm so proud to be involved with. And so essentially, since about August, I think is when we had our first kind of meeting of a kind of ad hoc committee involving numerous citizens, most of whom were involved with with the original memorial committee when the Coos Memorial was first constructed and installed. Of course, the mayor's been heavily involved in this, and as has Brian. And then Heather Kent, of course, has been involved when it comes to the sort of public-facing aspect and rolling it out as a product to the community. So the reason I'm bringing this to you is really just to fit this in with our existing Memorial Maintenance Committee. And so the language in the ordinance would really allow what we're doing already. I just wanted to be more express, and I thought the program was worthy of express recognition in the ordinance to call out the Coos Scholarship Program specifically. So, the red line version that you'll have in front of you, there's not a lot here. This is short, but the main points are that funds that are donated in memory of Captain Coos can be donated, allocated to the scholarship, and so not just to the maintenance of the physical structure there. And so, of course, if someone intended specifically that it go to the structure, that we have to honor that. But for the most part, people are donating in the name of. And so, and some folks may decide they want to donate specifically to the scholarship program. And so that's great too. So just to kind of capture what we do with those funds, I will point out that the idea here is I've just tried to capture kind of what our practice has been thus far with getting this thing off the ground, which our citizen input has been really invaluable. John Black, for example, is somebody who's been involved, and Captain Coos' mother, of course, has given really great input. So, in addition to other folks I can name, and so I wanted to say in here, there in subsection C, that we do have some citizen input, folks maybe identified by the mayor. And this would not be a big formal committee, but having that citizen input to help us select scholarship recipients, award recipients. And so, this is a first as far as I know for us to do. And so council may, have lots of opinions about this and how to jump in here. And so obviously quite open and less pride in authorship in something like this as a lawyer, because I want the client to really be able to do what the client envisions here. And so it's a great program. So whatever ideas or suggestions you have, we're sort of wide open to make this what you want it to be.
Just so you all know, the committee has met quite a few times. The plan is to have $6,000 worth of scholarship money available to 3 different individuals that will be going to, whether they're currently homeschooled or in private school or in public school, but they must be residents of the town of Smyrna or attending a Smyrna school. And the money can be used for a 4-year school, community college, or technical vocational school. So it'll go out in January and to the public, and then we're awarding in March. And there will have to be essays written, and then as well as an interview process. So, and Kelly Goosetree is heading this up for us. So
Yes, Kelly's been great to work
She has.
with and great perspective as an educator on
Yep.
all of it.
So are any questions? Okay, we'll move on to item 19, which is consideration of a resolution relative to a plan of services for property located on tax map 54, parcel 57.00. Kevin?
Yes, Mayor and Council, this first item is the plan of services for the next item on your agenda, the annexation. This is a document that puts in place and details the services that will be provided by the town upon the effective date of annexation, which in this case is everything except for water, which would be provided by a consolidated utility district. The Planning Commission recommended approval. Staff would also recommend approval.
Council, questions about plan of services for this property? Then we'll move on to the annexation, which is consideration of an ordinance relative to the annexation of PRD and R3 zoning of property located on tax map 54, parcel 57.00, requested by CSDG on behalf of the property owner containing 3.59 acres. The property is located at 8673 Briley Road, and this is a second reading.
Yeah, this is on Briley Road, about 300 feet from the intersection with Rocky Fork Allenville Road. Land use plan would support medium-density, single-family in this area. Surrounding zoning is a mix of PRD in town and RM in Rutherford County. There is an existing house on this property which would be removed as part of the development, and CUD has indicated there is adequate fire flow here. This proposed PRD is for 6 single-family lots. The houses would range from 2,400 to 2,800 square feet in size with 2-car garages. All requirements of the town with regard to open space, parking, and setbacks would be met. There's one access point shown to Briley Road, which would be one new street. A .32 acre portion of this property has been requested to be zoned R3 with annexation instead of PRD. It is anticipated that this area would be sold to be incorporated into the adjoining Briley Downs development. That's a different developer. This developer couldn't state for that developer what they wanted to do with it, that 3,207 acre. And so if that occurs, the Briley Downs PRD would have to be amended at that time. If it does not occur, that area would have to be incorporated into this development. So either way, that would have to be addressed at the time of submittal of the preliminary plat for this project. The Planning Commission did recommend approval of this project. There were several comments and conditions. They're all somewhat technical in nature and easily kind of cleanup type issues, really. And with those 6 conditions, again, Planning Commission recommended approval, and staff would also recommend approval.
Questions for Kevin on this? Mark or Tim, anything you want to add? Okay, then we'll move on to item 21, which is consideration of a resolution and memorandum of ordinance 23-46 relative to the property located on tax map 54, parcel 57.00. We'll put that on the agenda and move on to item 22, which is consideration of an ordinance relative to the rezoning of property located on tax map 28L, Group B, parcel 9.00, to go from C1 to R4. It's requested by Carl Garrett. The property requested to be rezoned contains 24/100ths of an acre and is located at 105 Richardson Street, and this also is a second reading. Kevin?
Yeah, this is on Richardson Street. It's about 250 feet from the intersection with Front Street. This is our depot district character area with our land use plan. So it would be, would support new development and redevelopment, which is a mix of uses and services, more urban and lot sizes and setbacks. Retail, restaurant, office, and attached residential uses are particularly appropriate in this area. Surrounding zoning is a mix of R4, R6, and C1. There are 2 existing houses on this parcel currently. Both are legally non-conforming, and they are also both in disrepair. The staff's understanding that the applicant wishes to remove the house near the front of the property, but wishes to keep the house in the rear with plans to repair or remodel it to bring it up to code. The Planning Commission did review this request to recommend approval. Staff would also recommend approval.
Questions for Kevin on this one? Okay, we'll move on to item 23, which is consideration of an ordinance relative to the rezoning of tax map 28M, Group B, parcel 15.00, to go from R2 to R4. It's requested by Gail Snoddy. The property requested to be rezoned contains approximately 5/10 of an acre and is located at 406 College Street, and this is a second reading.
Yeah, this is located on College Street at the corner of College Street and Enon Springs Road West. This is also kind of within our depot district character area, so it would be very similar to the Richardson Street address with regards to our land use plan. Surrounding zoning is a mix of R1 and R2. There is an existing church and a single-family dwelling on this property, as well as 2 detached accessory structures. The existing buildings are legally non-conforming as to the location from existing property lines. The church does wish to divide the property, sell the house, but there's not enough land to create 2 12,000 square foot lots, as is required in the R2 district, so they've requested to be rezoned to R4, to which does allow a smaller minimum lot size, and so that would allow for the subdivision of the property. The Planning Commission did review this, did recommend approval. Staff would also recommend approval.
Questions for Kevin? Okay, we'll move on to item 24, which is consideration of an ordinance relative to the rezoning of property located on tax map 28, parcels 113.03, 113.04, 113.05, and 113.06 to go from C4 to 52. It's requested by Mr. Karam. The property is requested to be rezoned total 6.63 acres and are located on Rock Springs Road, and this is a second reading. Kevin?
These are on Rock Springs Road. They're across from Cedar Grove Road, the intersection there. Land use plan is our Sam Ridley character area, kind of a mix of retail and services uses. Surrounding zoning is a mix of R1, R3, PRD, which is the Rock Springs Senior Apartments PRD, as well as C2. The Planning Commission did review this, did recommend approval unanimously. Staff would also recommend approval.
Questions for Kevin on this? Okay, we'll move on to item 25, which is consideration of an ordinance relative to the rezoning of property located on tax map 51, parcels 9.00, 9.01, and 28.00 to go from PRD to PUD. It's requested by Ryan Hollingshead. The property is requested to be rezoned, contain approximately 214.02 acres, and are located on Rocky Fork Road and Lee Road, and this is a second reading. Kevin?
Yes, these properties are on Rocky Fork Road and Lee Road. They're east of Cooks Lane. The land use plan would support medium-density, single-family in this area. Surrounding zoning is PRD in town and RM in Rutherford County. The existing approved PRD is for 432 single-family lots. This requested PUD is for 436 single-family lots, 220 townhomes, as well as 6 commercial lots. The single-family houses would be a minimum of 1,400 square feet. Townhomes would be a minimum of 1,500 square feet. Both types would have be finished with a mix of brick, stone, and concrete siding and have 2-car garages. All requirements for the town regarding open space, parking, and setbacks would be met. The 6 commercial lots, which are 3 on Rocky Fork Road and 3 on Lee Road, would be limited to the uses as allowed in C4, except for one of the lots along Rocky Fork Road would have the ability to be developed as a gas station. One access point is shown to Lee Road, 2 access points are shown to Rocky Fork, and there are 4 stub streets shown to the west and 2 to the east as well for connectivity to surrounding properties. The Planning Commission did review this request, recommended approval 5-4, 1 against. There were 3 conditions. One, that to provide a new traffic study. There was a traffic study when this approval, the original PRD was approved. That was several years ago, and they would have to update that, as well as obviously you're increasing the density and the commercial uses are being added, so they'll do need to update that. And any improvements recommended by the study would be required to be installed by the developer. The required minimum fire flow for the commercial development will be 1,500 gallons per minute, and the residential units will be 1,000 gallons per minute. I did receive late last week, and I'll get that to you for your council packet, an updated will-serve letter from CUD regarding the fire flow and everything, so I'll get that into your packet for your council meeting. And then number 3, because it's not specified in the PUD documents, that the gas station use is limited to one of the 3 lots along Rocky Fork Road. And with those conditions, staff would recommend approval.
Questions for Kevin on this?
Do you anticipate that one road that goes all the way through being a collector or people using it to?
Yeah, I mean, you will, I'm sure, yeah, the one road goes all the way through, then you have another road that goes most of the way through, north-south, so I'm sure we'll have to look at that once we get into the more detailed design for sure, for width as well as, is there something we could do to calm the traffic some? Because it could certainly be similar to Montgomery Way with that regard.
Okay, other questions? Then we'll move on to item 26, which is consideration of an ordinance relative to the amendment of the approved PUD for property located on tax map 50, parcel 7.07. It's requested by Rob Mulchin. The property requested to be amended contains approximately 4.48 acres and is located on Seven Oaks Boulevard, and this is a second reading.
Yes, this request is on Seven Oaks Boulevard, about 1,500 feet from the intersection with Almaville Road. Land use plan for this area is the 24 Gateway character area. Support a mix of uses that are like hospitality, retail, restaurant, and multifamily. The surrounding zoning is a mix of PRD, which is the Villages of Seven Oaks PRD, and C2. This is the existing, approved PUD would allow for 26,000 square feet of office/warehouse space in 2 single-story buildings, and a third building, which would be 2 stories, 89,752 square feet of climate-controlled self-storage. The requested PUD amendment would remove the office warehouse buildings completely and instead have 2 single-story climate-controlled storage buildings totaling up to 100,000 square feet. The buildings will be largely brick and glass on the fronts and sides with metal on the rear, which is consistent with the previous PUD approval. 1 full access point is shown to Seven Oaks Boulevard with an additional right turn exit only access as well. There would also be a connection to the adjoining office warehouse development to the west. The Planning Commission did recommend approval of this unanimously. Staff would also recommend approval.
Questions for Kevin on this one? Okay, then we'll move on to item 27, which is a consideration of an appointment of 1 member to the Beer Board to serve an unexpired term ending in 2027, and we have started receiving application on that. But if there is someone who would like to serve on the Beer Board, then we encourage you to apply. We're down to other. Is there anything under other? Okay. Hal? Rex? You're trying to hide? Charles? Dennis?
I'd like to wish Mayor, Council, and staff a very happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Carl? Jeff? Henry? Mike? Tom? Jason, you want to give it another go?
We can be here all night.
Kevin? Mike? Todd? Heather? Chief? Amber? Brandy?
Yes, ma'am, I've got a couple things for the council, and I'm disappointed that the second time Mike's had an opportunity to talk about something pretty special that's going to happen on December 2nd. And a lot of work went on down there today to get ready for that, and it's not my thunder.
Good answer, Mike. Good answer.
Not my thunder. The folks with the ice rink were in town today, and I think most of the foundation is now up and the floor's down, and we'll be working on some finish up things, and we're really excited about December 2nd being a very positive night for us and for the town as we go into the holiday season. So it's December 2nd. That's next Saturday night, not this Saturday, but next. So.
And will we get stuff out on social media,
will.
letting people
We will,
know?
yeah.
Great.
Also wanted to share with you some sad news. Tammy Thal, who works in our Treasury Department's mother passed away. They will be having a visitation tomorrow night. Unfortunately, it's the same time we'll be having a special event here in town, and then interment will be on Wednesday. But I know that the family would appreciate your prayers. Also, Council and Mayor, you guys received in the mail today, it's kind of a nice event. Stonecrest will be celebrating their 20 years their 20-year anniversary celebration, November, I believe it's the 30th. So if you've not got that on your calendar, if you're going to be in town, it'll be a great event. And I know Stonecrest would love to have all of us come out and be part of that. Mike Strange shared this with me today. We received in the mail from a gentleman by the name of George Hart III. He had a sewer problem at his house on November the 9th, and within 30 minutes, our employees showed up and began to alleviate his issue, and that was Justin Davis and Randy Roberts. And he was just very impressed with their professionalism and dedication to the job and helping solve the problem. It was a cold and rainy night. Most of them are when we get called out. They're cold and rainy or cold and snowy, but just wanted to share those comments from one of our citizens and appreciation for the staff and the work they do. Many times it goes unnoticed. Just a couple of things real quick, share with you. Some of the staff had the opportunity to run out. I think Rex and Todd were there for the Nothing Bundt Cakes grand opening.
Shocker.
We're excited about having them in town. I know many of you are familiar with their product. The one in Murfreesboro does a great business, and we don't anticipate anything less here in Smyrna. I will tell you that Todd came by my office, and something had come up that day, and I couldn't go out for that ribbon cutting. And he let me know that I think he got a box, and he was going to share some of those with us, and I still haven't seen any. But yeah, but Nothing Bundt Cake is proud to be doing business in Smyrna, and we're proud to have them.
Probably only 2 in the box.
I understand it was 12 in the box.
12, oh, so 6 and 6?
We gave Casey one.
Oh,
It's about a 5-mile drive between there and here.
I just thought it was, he came by my
that's
office and
interesting.
said he was going
So
to
he
give me one, but
shared the information.
I didn't
but
hear
not
anything
the-
about
Not
those.
the goods.
Todd never fails to make it to any
Yeah.
food.
Consistent, yes.
next, the Chamber of Commerce was happy to have their breakfast before hours at the YMCA here in Smyrna about a week ago, and I was able to go out that morning after my exercise from not getting to eat any of the bundt cakes, and participate in that. And we had several folks from the community there. Phil Wilson and his wife, our commissioner, was there, and myself, and it was a good time. And I tell you, there's some exciting things going on at the Y. And in fact, at that business before hours, I set an appointment that I'm going to be meeting with their director out of Nashville that works directly with this organization down here about growth potentials and some of the things that they're looking to do to meet some of the demand that as our town continues to grow. So congratulations to them. Next, let's see, Todd and myself, and I'm trying to remember if anybody else was there. The Judge Stevens and our court clerk were able to be out for the celebration at the Heavenly Treats. It was their 1-year anniversary, and they were very excited. If you've not been there, it's a great place to go. It's located in the old Victory House, and I know, Mayor, that resonates for you, but it is a beautiful home, but they have packed that place full of some very beautiful items. And if you're around the holiday seasons, if you're looking for some specialty gifts and those kind of things, it'd be a great place to visit. I think they're open on Wednesdays through Saturday there at the Victory House on Enon Springs, and congratulations to them on their 1-year anniversary. Next, just a reminder, leaf collection is in full swing, and please remember, if you want us to pick up your leaves, remove them from the yard and put them in biodegradable leaf bags. Anything in plastic bags, unfortunately, we're not able to pick up, but if you'll put them in the biodegradable bags, they'll pick them up on the regular routes through the brush truck. And again, if they're in plastic, unfortunately, we cannot pick those up. Next, Maple View Cemetery is temporarily closed today and tomorrow. We're repaving. Tom's been working with a group, I think Hawkins Paving. They're repaving all the roads out there to help with some of the potholes and those kind of things, but also to help us get maybe better control of the traffic. I was telling Tom, I walked through the cemetery up there today looking at the work that was being done, and I noticed on one of the corners, again, somebody's tapped one of the headstones and knocked it over. And that's unfortunate when it happens. Hopefully with this new paving, keep them in the road and not off into the grass. But we'll get that headstone straightened out on that one, and the paving will be done tomorrow, and the cemetery will be open again on Wednesday. The next thing I had was, did want to wish everybody in Smyrna a happy Thanksgiving. This is Thanksgiving weekend, or week, and remind everybody that the offices will be closed on Thursday and Friday. But I do want to, in observance of the holiday, wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. But I would like to point out that our fire, police, the water treatment plant, the wastewater treatment plant, and actually towards the end, after the Thanksgiving day, we'll have some folks at SOAC and stuff that'll continue. The golf course will be open, and we want to make sure everybody understands that facilities that are needed, emergency services, and some of our recreational stuff will be out there. And we just want to say how much we appreciate those employees that, while some of the other employees will be enjoying a 4-day weekend, there's a lot of us will still have to spend a little time getting things done and providing services to the community, and that's what we do. So thank you. And the last thing I have is what I always end with, is love where you live. Nobody trashes Tennessee. Don't forget about the hotline that you can call at 1-877-8-LITTER, and that will get you to a hotline if you've got a tag, you see somebody dumping things, those kind of things, and there is a way for us to follow up on that. You know, we seems like sometimes we're getting a little better with the litter issue, and next thing I know, I'll get a phone call and somebody's dumped a household somewhere. So please, if you live in Smyrna, take care of your litter, take it home, take it to a trash receptacle. Don't throw it out the window. It's not just about the beautification of our community, but, from the stormwater side, that stuff gets in our streams and those kind of things and creates issues for the aquatic life as well as just the beautification of the community. So love where you live, folks, and happy Thanksgiving. That's all I have, Mayor.
Hope everyone enjoys this, the 234th legal Thanksgiving, legally observed Thanksgiving.
So are there lots of illegal Thanksgivings?
Well, there were those that were not recognized, Mayor, prior
Gotcha.
to President Washington making his
So
declaration.
not recognized as illegal?
It would not be legal.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'd venture to say there are still some of those illegal ones taking place today.
That's right.
Anything else?
That is all from me.
Hey, Jeff, you lost your grandmother, Virginia Alexander, I believe, so condolences to you and your family.
Thank you. Appreciate you
Absolutely.
mentioning.
Raquel is not here tonight, but she had a slide, so I will do that slide. We want to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting an open forum here about school capacity here in Smyrna, and we also want to thank the elected officials from County Commission that were here, representatives from the school board, as well as from the school system, and most importantly, the League of Women Voters who put that on. And Raquel was the moderator for that event, so thank you for the League of Women Voters for hosting that event. HG?
Thank you, ma'am. It is a big week this week. I'm sure one of y'all have a slide on the tree lighting ceremony tomorrow night, so I'm gonna go into that. Wednesday's a big day also. Wednesday is my first grandson, Henry Cole IV's 10th birthday.
Double digits.
10 years old. Happy birthday, Henry. Thursday, of course, we all hopeful to be very thankful and don't eat too much or eat moderately, but be thankful for what that you do have. Friday, of course, is Black Friday, and we can do the Black Friday purchasing local, y'all. And then Saturday is the big day, Small Business Saturday. That one is, it's where you need to go and look on the internet and find the SIMA businesses and shop locally with the SIMA businesses. And be kind. Happy Thanksgiving all.
It's the birthday boy. Happy birthday.
That's just a rumor.
No, that's not what the paper said.
Yeah, don't, fake news. Yeah, I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving this year and hope you enjoy it with your families. I will not be eating moderately. I will be overeating and enjoying every minute of it till I.
About a martini or something like that.
Well, that's not eating. Okay. No comment. But happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Jerry?
Happy birthday, Tim.
Thank you.
And also my daughter-in-law has a birthday on Saturday, so happy birthday, Jamie. And also just wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
Steve?
Excellent. I do have a slide as well. This past November 11th, we celebrated Veterans Day. I want to thank those that were able to attend Veterans Day ceremony. It was a day to honor our veterans. Our special guest, our speaker, was the Honorable Judge Royce Taylor, who is the, I'm sorry, brother. I was like, is it brother or it's Taylor?
Brother.
So it's brother, not brother-in-law. He is the brother of Jimmy Taylor, who was very instrumental in getting us to Coos Memorial to start with. I think without his involvement, we probably would still be on a list waiting for a plane. So also want to thank the Parks Department. They do a great job with these events, and again, didn't let us down this time either. So thanks to the town of Smyrna and the rest of the employees for their help in this process. We also had a notification today that one of our Rutherford County Library System employees passed away unexpectedly. Garrett Crowell, who is the circulation manager at Lineball, has been with the system for about 10 years. He's in his late 40s and had a heart attack and did not make it over the weekend. So our family's with the Crowell family. Our prayers are with the Crowell family as they go through this time of mourning. It's always tough, but it's really tough close to the holidays like this. I think that's it. Other than that, I'll say happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you after the holidays. That's it.
Marky Mark.
Happy birthday to my friend there. Known him an awfully long time and still continues to have fun birthdays. So happy birthday, Tim. I mentioned Jeff Peach lost his grandmother, and I know his family, it's never a good time to lose somebody, and holidays are extremely harder. But just to your family, our condolences. Thank you, veterans. You know, I come from a background and a family of those, and it just, every time we have an event that honors either our fallen or our veterans, it's just something special to me personally. This week, I attended the visitation for Ben Coop, and Ben passed away. Ben was a veteran. You all probably remember when Jean Coop was recognized as Volunteer of the Year for all her work with the Red Cross. So to the Coop family, my condolences to all of them. Lastly, my grandson turned 5 today, so he's getting big, and he's still a lot of fun. He still loves to play with his Zippy. So we're going to continue to party with Ledger until he gets too big to think that's cool anymore. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Have a blessed Thanksgiving with your families, and wish you all nothing but the best. That's all.
A couple of items here. First of all, we talked about it during the meeting. The town Smyrna currently has a beer board opening for an expiring term ending in 2027. We encourage you to become involved in your community. If you would like to fill out an application, you can do that online. HG, you referenced our annual tree lighting ceremony, which will take place tomorrow night in the Depot District at 6 p.m. There are plans in case there's inclement weather, which then we'll move it to the event center, but we will keep you all updated if that happens. There will be food trucks on site as well as photos with Santa. Our 48th annual Christmas parade will be held on Sunday, December 3rd at 2 p.m. We are still accepting parade entries through November 22nd. And even if you're just coming to watch the parade, please consider bringing a non-perishable food item to give to some of our employees that will be walking along the parade route that will benefit the Nourish Food Bank. I'd like to thank Browns Chapel Elementary School for having me out to their Veterans Day ceremony. It was a great day, and it was really special. Those children really enjoyed being able to be with family members that were veterans, and they put on a really nice event. Other than that, I would also like to wish everyone a very happy Thanksgiving. We are all very blessed to live here in the town of Smyrna. Some of our neighbors are not as blessed as those of us that are in this room, and I encourage you to reach out to those individuals and give a hand up to those as we're thinking about this Thanksgiving time. Council, is there anything else?
There's one other thing I'd like to mention. As you guys have noticed, the last couple of meetings, we've been shy a chief. Our fire chief, Bill Culberson, who all of us know, he's dealing with some health issues, and he's had some doctor's appointments that he's been attending and those kind of things. So I did get a text message from him tonight asking for permission not to be here. He's got a doctor's appointment in the morning early that his son will be taking him to, and we're hoping that he's going to get some resolve in some of the issues he's having. But you know, everybody knows how dedicated Chief Bill is, and just want to, probably keep him in our prayers as we go forward for some resolve on some of the issues he's been having, so.
Anything else? If nothing else, we're adjourned.